The most basic and powerful way to connect to another person is to listen. Just listen. Perhaps the most important thing we ever give each other is our attention. The most basic and powerful way to connect to another person is to listen. Just listen. Perhaps the most important thing we are give each other in our attention. Happy morning to all girls. Welcome you for my English class. Today we are going to continue the communication skill part. Actually, in the previous class I told you, do you want your communication more effective? You have to use it and utilize it, the four skills in your communication. Then it makes it more effective. What are the four skills? Listening skills, speaking skills, reading skills, and writing skills. LSRW. So, today first we are going to see the first one, listening skills. Listening skills. Traits of listening skills. Traits of listening. L stands for look interested and get interested. I stands for involve yourself by responding. S stands for stay on target. T stands for test your understanding. E stands for evaluate the message. N stands for neutralize your feelings. Always listening come first. The first and the foremost communication skills that we learn in our life in is nothing but listening. In our communication, always first and foremost comes it is that listening skill. So without listening, nothing is to learn. So here also in this start you can understand that first listening, next speaking, reading, writing. This is the format of following these four skills. Now, what is listening? Listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret a message in the communication process. Listening is key to all effective communication. Without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. Effective listening is a skill that underpins all positive human relationship. So, you have to listen effectively. If you lose the effectiveness while listening, messages are easily misunderstood. The first point, listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret the message in the communication process. Those who are communicating about a topic, we have to listen more. Give importance to listening. If we lose that, the message will be misunderstood. And effective listening is a skill that underpin all positive human relationship. So the effective listening skill is the positive when we are underpin all our human relationship. Spend some time thinking about and developing your listening skills. They are the building blocks of success. Spend some time thinking about and developing your listening skills. They are the building blocks of success. Listening is so important that many top employers provide listening skills training for their employees. Why you know? This is not a surprising when you are considered that good listening skills can lead to better customer satisfaction, greater productivity with fewer mistakes, and increased sharing of information that in turn can lead to more creative and innovative work. So, when they are giving a training for listening, they will success in their increasing their productivity. Many successful leaders and entrepreneurs credit their success to effective listening skills. So, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to more concentrate on listening skill. You will face the success. Now, next, difference between hearing and listening. Yeah, first of all, listening is not the same as hearing. Okay, why means hearing refers to the sounds that enter your ears. It is physical process that provided you to do not have any hearing problem happens automatically. So that's why hearing refers to sound to enter our ears. It is a physical process that provides you do not have any hearing problems happens automatically. And however, listening requires more than that. It requires focuses and concentrated effort, both mental and sometimes physical as well. So, listening means paying attention of only to the story, but how it is told, the usage of language and voice, and how the other person uses or her body. In other words, it means being aware of both verbal and non-verbal messages. Your ability to listen effectively depends on the degree to which you perceive and understand these messages. So here I share the difference between a hearing and listening. First of all, in hearing part, ability to perceive sound by receiving vibrations through ears. That is a physical part. In listening, something done consciously that involves that analysis and understanding of the sound you hear. So through that listening, understanding through the ears, while hearing the message, make it analyze and understand the sounds, that is listening. In hearing, it is an ability. It is an ability. In listening, it is a skill. Physiological act is the hearing part. It is a psychological act in listening part. Primary and continuous in nature. It's a nature. While we are hearing sound, it's a nature. It's a primary one. In listening, secondary and temporary in nature. Listening is a secondary part and temporary in nature. Those things we will give importance, then our mind will listen carefully. It accept of messages through ears. Interpretation of the message received by ears. Just we will accept the message through ears. In listening part, we make them to understand, receive through our ears. In here, passive bodily process. In listening, active body process. In hearing, concentration is not required. In listening, concentration is required. Occurs at subconscious level while we are hearing. It is when we are sleeping. At the time also we can hear lots of things that is in the subconscious mind. In listening, it occurs at conscious level. Only in a conscious level we able to listen those things what they communicate. Process of listening. Become a good listener requires us to understand how listening happens. Essentially, a cognitive process Listening involves the following stages, that is, sensing, recognizing, interpreting, evaluating, responding, remembering, or memorizing. So, first, remembering, next, receiving, next, responding, next, understanding, next, evaluating. First of all, receiving. So, when we are receiving the message, we have to understand it. Okay, through that what language they are using. First of all, we have to know that language. Then only we can able to receive. Then only we can able to understand it. So, first part is receiving, and then make to understanding. And the next part is remembering. So how we have to remember? How it is helpful to remembering? It is important listening process because it means that as individual added message to the mind's storage bank. That is the remembering part. And the next part, evaluating. How it evaluate? It consists of judging the message in some way. That is evaluating part. And the next thing, responding. How we have to respond? This stage requires that the receiver complete the process through verbal and or a non-verbal feedback, because the speaker has no other way to determine if a message has been received. This stage becomes the only overt means by which the sender may describe the degree of success in transmitting the message. So when we are responding that, first of all, we received, understand it, remembering it, evaluating it, and later responded. How we have to respond? The communicator, what he communicate, what he transmit through the communication, how we took it, how it understand it. Through that, he or she will ask in the question feedback form. When we are responding, how our response is fundamental to the process of listening. Whether we received or not, whether we understand or not, those things will be finally evaluated and responded here. Next point, importance of listening. Communication is not a complete without effective listening. An attentive listener stimulates better speaking by the speaker. A good listener learns more than an ordinary listener. It helps in learning. It increases one's understanding. It builds stronger relationship by creating a desire to cooperating among people, because they feel acceptance and acknowledged. It creates acceptance and openness. It reduces stress and tension. It resolves conflicts. It relieves boredom, that is listening to music. It can improve work quality on job, because it is the most frequent type of on the job communication. So, an attentive listener stimulates a better speaking by the speaker. When we are giving attention, we will be able to great speaker than by the speaker. A good listener learns more than an ordinary listener. So, there is that difference between a listener and ordinary listener. If you are a good listener, you learn more than an ordinary listener. A good listener learns to detect prejudice, assumptions, and attitudes. A good listener learns to detect prejudice, assumptions, and attitudes. A communication is not complete without a effective listening. A communication is not complete without a effective listening. A good listener can restructure ways, speaking in a way that produces a clear meaning. A good listener can restructure ways, speaking in a way that produces clearer meaning. So, effective listening. What is effective listening? Effective listening is our skills are the ability to actively understand information provided by the speaker and display interest in the topic discussed. So, effective listening skills are the ability to actively understand the information provided by the speaker. What the speaker gave the information, we have to understand that is through our listening, it is ability. It can also include providing the speaker with a feedback by asking a pertinent question so the speaker knows the message is received. We can include providing the speaker with feedback by asking a pertinent questions, answerable question, so the speaker knows that message is received or not through the feedback. Effective listening is a skill using a multiple senses to comprehend the message being sent by the speaker. So, effective listening is a skill using a multiple senses, comprehend the message, sharing the message, okay, and then through the communicating with the sent by the through the communication, speaker sent the message. So, for understanding purpose, we have to listen. So, for how we have to listen means more effectively we have to listen. So here, effective listening all level is very important for the successful running of an organization. Listening is playing a more important, particularly effective listening playing an important role for the successful running of an organization. Good listening skills make a worker more productive. When the good listening skills make a workers more productive, the ability to listen carefully will allow you to. The ability to listen carefully will allow you to better understand assignments and what is expected of you, build a rapport with co-workers, bosses and clients, show us support. Work better in a team-based environment. Resolve problems with customers, co-workers and boss. Answer questions and find underlying meanings in what others say. So, effective listening playing an important role in all the fields, like what I read here, explained you, better understanding assignments and what is expected of you, build a good relationship with the co-workers, boss and clients, show the support through the listening skill, work better is in a team-based environment, resolve problems with customers, co-workers. The effective listening helps in controlling rumors, which helps in preventing a damage to the reputation of the organization. When we are with the help of the effective listening, it controls a rumor, which helps to preventing a damage to the popularity of the organization. Effective listening will improve the working condition and nourish the harmony and unity among the workers and colleagues. It will make a good relationship. Effective listening will improve the working condition and nourish the harmony with the workers and colleagues. The effective listening, extremely important life skill. Why listening is so important? Because listening serves a number of possible purposes, and the purpose of listening will depend on the situation and nature of the communication. To specifically focus on message being communicated, avoiding a distraction and preconception. To gain a full and accurate understanding into the speaker point of view and ideas. To critically assess what is being said. To observe the non-verbal signal accompanying what is being said and enhance understanding. To show interest, concern and concentration. To encourage the speaker to communicate fully, openly and honestly. To develop a selflessness approach of putting the speaker first. To arrive at a shared and agreed understanding and acceptance of both side views. So, often our main concern while listening is to formulate ways to respond. This is not a function of listening. We should try to focus fully on what is being said and how it is being said in order to more fully understand the speaker. So, effective listening requires concentration and the use of your other sense, not just hearing the words spoken. Generally, types of listening divided into two types. One is the passive listening, another one is active listening. Passive listening used when no feedback response is intended or needed, such as when listening radio or watching television. So while we are watching a radio or television, any other media program, no feedback response is intended or not needed to, such as an active listening. Active listening used to provide verbal and non-verbal feedback to the speaker about your understanding of what is being communicated. So, active listening means it provides a verbal or a non-verbal feedback to the speaker about your understanding of what is being communicated. Active listening skills are necessary to carry on a successful conversation. So, active listening skills are necessary to carry on a successful conversation. So for us, which type of listening is important means active listening is very important. So, the way to improve your listening skill is to practice active listening. This is where you make a conscious effort to hear not only the words that another person is saying, but more importantly, the complete message being communicated. In order to do this, you must pay attention to the other person very carefully. You cannot allow yourself to become distracted by whatever else may be going on around you, or by forming counter arguments while the other person is still speaking, nor can you allow yourself to get bored and lost focuses on what the other person is saying. So while we are in active while listening, the complete message being communicated with us, we must pay the attention the other person very carefully. You cannot allow yourself become to distract by whatever else may be going on around you. It will carry a successful conversation. Now, types of listening. First one is appreciative listening. Second one is empathetic listening. one is comprehensive or active listening. Fourth one is critical or analytical listening. Listening, the process of receiving, constructing meaning from and responding to spoken and or non-verbal message. First of all, we go with that appreciative listening. A listening for pleasure and enjoyment, as when we listen to music, to a comedy written, or to an entertaining speech, is called appreciative listening. And the next one, empathetic listening. A listening to provide emotional support for the speaker, as when a psychiatrist listens to a patient, or when we lend a sympathetic ear to a friend. Comprehensive or active listening. Listening to understand the message of a speaker, as when we attend a classroom lecture or listen to directions for finding a friend's house. Next one, critical or analytical listening. Listening to evaluate a message for purpose of accepting or rejecting. It has when we listen to the sales pitch of used car dealer or the campaign speech of a political candidate. Appreciate listening. Appreciative listening is a type of listening, girls. It's based on a behavior where the listener seeks a certain information which they will appreciate and meet his or her needs and goals. One uses appreciating listening when listening to music, a poetry, or the string words of a speech. Is called a appreciative listening. Next one, that is empathetic listening. Empathetic listening is also called the active listening or reflective listening. Is a way of a listening and responding to another person that improves a mutual understanding and trust. The next one, comprehensive listening. Comprehensive listening involves understanding the thoughts, ideas, and message. The type of listening requires that listener understand the language and vocabulary. Comprehensive listening builds on a discriminative learning. If you can't understand the sound, you will not be able to interpret language. Now, next and last one, that is critical listening, critical or analytical listening. Critical listening is a form of listening that if usually not mentioned, since it involves analysis, critical thinking and judgment. Make a judgment during listening is often considered as a barrier to understand a person, and there is a lot of truth in that. So this is the actual type of listening skills. The next one, techniques of listening skills. Focus on key points. While you are listening a lecture or about any orator, you just focus on key points. Being aware of both verbal and non-verbal message. While you are listening, just concentrate both a verbal and non-verbal message. Listen with an open mind. Listen with an open mind. Avoid false attention and pretending to listen. Avoid false attention and pretending to listen. Wait for the speaker to pause to ask clarifying a question. Wait for the speaker to pass, ask a clarifying question. First of all, we have to wait till the speaker have to put a pause and clarifying the question. Be attentive but relaxed. Be active but relaxed. Be careful but relaxed. These are the techniques of listening skills. The next one, listening is an active, purposeful process that utilizes a bottom-up items of language and top-down a schema. Pre-listening activities can be useful means to integrate the two-way of processing. Exposures to variety of tasks enables students to become more successful learners. The chapter provides an example of how these takes can be used or modified to utilize them in the classroom effectively. I hope girls you are all understand that what today I explain about listening skill. Through this key points, use it while in the classroom, listening a lesson carefully, go with these points and make your listening more effectively. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you, girls.